and you just answer right to camera. What do you think are the mistaken impressions? What do foreign tourists, like foreigners, think of Colombia?
Well, they discovered that Colombia now is on peace, and there is so many things to see here in Colombia that the people is interested to come here and watch our environment and how do we change. We are in Medellin City right now. Medellin City it was used to be a dangerous city a long time ago, but now we changed for good. And we are happy that many, many people from all over the world came here to visit us.
First of all, let's just get this out of the way. It's pronounced Medellin. I know I've been saying Medellin my whole life, and you probably were too, but it's wrong. Or at least that's not how the locals say it. So say it with me, Medellin. There is a debate about which city is best, Bogota or Medellin. A friendly rivalry, and if you listen carefully, you might even hear it in the accents.
Medellín. Muy buenas tardes, ¿cómo me les ha ido? ¿Si están disfrutando el tourcito? Es que esto acá es muy bueno. Vamos a almorzar y espero que les guste mucho. Bogotá. Buenas tardes, ¿cómo me les ha ido? ¿Vamos bien? Vamos camino al almuerzo. Espero que estén disfrutando el tour.
So we started our journey in Bogota, and now we'll get lost in Medellin.
Medellin forever.
There was a time when the very name Medellin seemed incomplete without the word cartel to follow it, at least in media reports. But today, some call it the Medellin miracle. And this is arguably the epicenter of that miracle.
It's a military operation that caused a lot of problems to our community.
Comuna 13, once one of the most dangerous areas of Medellin, now a magnet for wide-eyed tourists.
Juan cavernícolas y siguen actuando.
And the perfect stage for former gang members to showcase their creativity with graffiti and rap.
Más que emplear palabras es tener un contenido filosófico existencial. Nada isa, no sé, perdí la vida normal.
Zorro is part of a community collective who guide curious travelers through the streets and stairways of their neighborhood, showing off the local cuisine. Of course, I can't resist a good food cart.
Gracias. Gracias, papá.
And the best popsicles in the city.
Mango, coconut, soy sauce, passion fruit.
This is really good. It's a must-see spot now, but just a few years ago, no tourist would dare to set foot here.
Desde aquí se podían montar operaciones o
It's all about location, location, location. This hillside barrio was the ideal location for nefarious interests.
This is like an strategical part of the city because it's near to the port, to the Medellin, so they can take out drugs and bring weapons. For that reason, all the gangs and the guerrillas groups want this territory.
Comuna 13 specifically?
Yeah, because they have access just 20 minutes to the center of the city, and it's the nearest place to the port in Urabá.
It's the best shipping route.
Yeah.
Yeah. So everyone was fighting over it.
Yeah.
And the people got caught in the middle.
Yeah.
For years, it was a constant battle for control between the gangs, guerrillas and militias, and the government. Many people died or simply disappeared.
Y la última vez que removieron se demoraron mucho
For
tiempo.
10 years, that place was where they put the rubbish.
It's like a garbage dump.
Yeah, from the constructions, something like that. And there was like 4,000 tons a day. Nowadays, people are trying to look for their disappeared families, but it's almost impossible because there's a lot of sand and rubbish in there. So how could you look for someone if has 4,000 tons a day for 10 years?
Of rubbish. And so they think that that's where they buried
Yeah,
the people who disappeared.
Yeah.
To this day, families are still waiting for answers about what happened to their loved ones.
Maybe in that hillside, that's the Metro Cable.
Oh,
and they go up to the hillside.
Today, Comuna 13 has undergone an incredible transformation, in large part because of this.
Muchas gracias por su comprensión.
Transportation, helping to break down socioeconomic barriers. The cable car system, connecting these isolated communities with the rest of Medellin. And the escalators, allowing residents to get around their own neighborhood more easily, rather than having to trudge up floor after floor of steep stairs to get home. At least when they're not broken down. Oh, they're carrying a refrigerator up the stairs.
Bienvenido, hermano. Este espacio se llama Ruta 13.
Welcome. This space is called Ruta 13, Road 13. They have a division of 2 times of the story of the comuna.
2 stories, the past and the present, giving hope for the future.
Acá tenemos algunas de las fotos.
Those are black and white photographies of how was the neighborhood before, when was the conflict, yeah? And in this side of the house, there's another photographies, but those are in color, because it's what they really want to show, the happiness that they have.
Este espacio para nosotros es mucho más importante. ¿Por qué? Porque es donde mostramos lo que es hoy real dentro de la comuna y lo que representa a nuestro colectivo, que es Ruta 13, es la guacamaya, un animal que cuando abre sus alas, cuando las extiende, se ve todo su color. Cuando vuela, muestra lo libre que puede ser. Eso es hoy la Comuna 13, un lugar lleno de vida, de color, de transformación social y libre.
Colombia's relationship with Pablo Escobar, let's call it complicated. Do you wish he were still alive?
Well, sometimes, why not? Of course.
Yeah.
He was a very kind person.
Because a lot of people think he was a very evil person.
Oh, no, of course. But you have to know the root about it. Why?
Pablo himself is long dead, but the memories are still fresh for many. The man who terrorized and killed in cold blood in pursuit of his own power and fortune. Or to others, the benefactor, a kid from the neighborhood who outsmarted the establishment and shared some of his wealth with the poor.
Everybody knows the other view, the bad view of him, right? And that's why we have to do, and we have to say something good about him, because he did so many good things also.
What did he do that was good? What did he do for you?
For example, that he gave me 5,000 pesos and he gave me a bag full of food.
Give you a bag of food.
Like I told you before.
Yeah. And he didn't even know you though, right? He just was
of course
giving things to people.
He was giving things to people, that was it.
Even in death, he attracts attention.
This is the tomb of Pablo Escobar.
So people still bring flowers?
Still, every day.
Visitors from all over the world pay for the Pablo Escobar guided tour. But the gravesite isn't even the most bizarre stop.
Bienvenidos a la casa.
You're
Voy a
welcome to
tomar
his
sus
house.
fotos.
You can take any pictures you like.
This
su nombre?
is Sophie.
Sophie,
¿De qué país?
Canada.
Ok. Se van a encontrar como en familia.
You're gonna find here his family, and
Y aquí lo vamos a atender con
this
familia.
house like a family. We wanna treat
Que se
you
sientan
like a
como si
family,
estuvieran en su propia casa.
like feeling as you are in your own house.
This house was one of Pablo's Medellin homes. Once a hideout, now something of an Escobar family museum.
Open the car.
Complete with bulletproof vehicles. Double bulletproof, yeah. And wanted posters. It's run by Pablo's brother Roberto, who used to be the family accountant. These days, Roberto is half deaf, owing to a pesky letter bomb he opened up while in prison, and he looks more like the grandpa next door rather than the cold, hard cash counter he used to be. In fact, he seems to relish that grandfatherly role. showing off his young granddaughter's dancing and modeling skills to the bewildered tourists who arrive on his doorstep. For the record, he was very enthusiastic about us filming his granddaughter, but we decided to blur her face because, well, she's 7. He is an Escobar after all. And we've seen Narcos. And it just got weirder. Weird timing, probably just a coincidence, but our bus broke down. So, we might be stuck here. We made our donation and bought our mementos, and just like that, the bus was working again. From terrorism to tourism. You gotta wonder, is Pablo rolling over in his grave? Doubtful. If it makes good money, he'd probably be right on board.
Let's do it.
Here's something else you may not have known about Colombia. They're really good at riding bikes competitively. Even Roberto Escobar raced before he found a more lucrative calling in the family business.
Our first sport in Colombia is soccer, which is the first one around the world.
Yeah.
And then the second sport in Colombia is cycling, because it had given us so many memories, so many good times.
Rene Munoz runs Equipo Cycling, a bike tour company which lets weekend warriors feel like the pros.
Hey, Rene, ¿cómo estás? Bien, vos. Why is cycling so popular in Colombia?
I think because of the amount of good cyclists that we have had for the last 42 years. 42 years ago was the first time that Colombia went to the Tour de France. And I think because of that and all the good times the cyclists have given us, so this is what I told you, 9 to the top, but it's going to be like this for like 2K,
Yeah.
and then it gets a lot easier.
That's good.
Thankfully, you're out of shape, otherwise I wouldn't be able to keep up with you. Jesus.
If you couldn't already tell by my heavy breathing, he's kidding.
So this is the kind of scenery
Yep.
you get on a ride.
Yep. Buenos días. Muy
Buenos
bien,
días.
¿cómo vamos? And even the cows say hi to me.
It is a beautiful place to ride, but the scenery is not always top of mind for prospective tourists Rene meets at travel shows.
Yeah, North Americans, all North Americans, they were always asking, is it really safe? And then the second question that they will ask is like, are the roads paved?
Are the roads paved? So by safe, they're not talking about is it safe for cyclists, but they mean like, is there violence?
Yeah,
That's what they mean?
They were concerned about what they heard, you know, what the news have told them for the last, several years. And they, I guess they only heard the bad news, but they never really tune into the good news, which is, well, it is safe. They changed our president 12 years ago, Álvaro Uribe, really changed this country, and is completely safe, and it has paved roads.
It has paved roads, and this is a very nice paved road.
Of course, there was a time when hitting the road had risks, even for the pros.
I have to go to look for my shoulders.
Victor Hugo Peña was one of the country's top cyclists in the early 2000s, the first Colombian to wear the yellow jersey in the Tour de France. But training rides involved much more than just building endurance and speed. It also meant staying out of harm's way.
The places where I go for training, sometimes if I go in Medellin for training, I have to ask, hey, I can go for training for this side? No, man, it's better no. Better go this way.
Safer.
Yeah, safer, yeah. It's better this way because this way is not. Last week, people was kidnapping there. But for us, was like normal. Okay, I have to take care.
In 2003, just days before leaving for the Tour de France, he and his family were confronted by a group of armed men and told to get on the floor.
In that moment, 3 people came to me with the
mask?
Yeah, the mask, and they say, hey, you are Victor Hugo Peña? And then I was laughing, and I say, yes, I am. But I thought it was a friend of mine.
And it was a joke?
I thought it was a joke, yeah. And they were talking about guerrilla, about the communism, about the socialism, about the gringos, blah, 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 blah.
They were after a $300,000 peace tax, which he didn't have. So they took his credit card instead. Did you ever think, in those days when you were doing your training rides, the early days, and you had to look over your shoulder and worry about your safety, at that time, did you ever think that we would reach this point in Colombia where it is so much safer now?
No, in those years I was hoping that someday it has to change. But I was not sure, just like hoping, one day it has to finish.
Oh, very nice. That looks good. Wow.
That definitely looks good.
You ride so you can have that.
Oh my God.
It was hope that brought Rene Munoz back to his home country after his family had sent him to the U.S. for his own safety when he was 18.
Your family didn't think it was a great place for you to stay because...
It wasn't safe. It was definitely, besides not being safe to travel in the roads, it was a lot of corruption with the big groups, organized groups. They will, ask you for, if you were independent or if you kind of look like you may be able to pay money, they will ask you to pay.
Right, or threaten you or something like that. But did you want to come back home? Did you miss home?
I did. I living in the US for the first 10 years, I think I never thought that I wanted to live back in Colombia, because I think that, I was born and raised in a culture that was something that I didn't want to be part of. I just definitely didn't want to be in a place that I couldn't be safe and that actually, in terms of opportunities, didn't have many. Back in those days, for people to have, things, you couldn't find a good job, and it wasn't a place with opportunities, right? So I didn't really see myself, getting older in a country like this. But since Álvaro Uribe came into power and changed the country and cleaned everything, and when I started traveling back for business or pleasure, I always start looking the country like, wow, this is cool.
So you're happy to be back?
More than happy, yeah.
Does it feel like home again?
It does. It
feels like Colombia is on the cusp of something big right now.
It is. I think nowadays people are more proud to say they're Colombian. We're looking at Colombia with better eyes now. We appreciate more what we have, and there's a lot more people like me going around and saying, yeah, we definitely live in a paradise and there's a lot to see.
Of course, the real beauty of this country is not just in the landscapes and the cityscapes, nor is it the eclectic nightlife, fun as it is. It's not the food or the drink, although I love both of those things. And it's definitely not in the evening news stories or the gangster shows. The true heart of Colombia is this: the people, the Colombians themselves who face such dark chapters in their history and refuse to let that be their only story.
They're all very proud of their neighborhood?
Yeah, everyone is proud of what they have done, because they didn't have anything, and look what they have already. It's not too much, but they have a lot of good things. And something that people have that is for free, that anyone can take from them, is the happiness. They're happy here, so they're happy of what they have. That anyone can take that from them.
They can't take away their happiness.
No. And you will see in the faces of the people. No matter the poor, no matter anything, they are happy.
Get lost.
Get lost.
Para perderse o sustraerse, primero debes encontrarte. Las personas deben más amarse. Hay muchas cosas para apegarse y aferrarse de esta vida, parce. Pero no sé si todas sean las mejores. Yo no sé si todos los rivales sean los peores. Hay que eliminar todas esas fronteras invisibles para poder amarse, así llegar y lograrse, parce. Es muy difícil en estos barrios, hay que sustraerse. Para perderse entre Colombia es muy fácil, luego encontrarse caminando por el centro, siendo víctima de las miradas. Aquí no hay tantas sospechas, no hay tantas personas ya armadas. En sus tiempos hubieron muchas desalmadas, hoy estamos con las almas más humanas.